My 34M wife, 28F, wants to name our baby after her dead ex-boyfriend. I am not the original poster. Oop is you, Turbomax shoot 'em. Posted in our relationship advice. Trigger warnings. Mention of abuse. Death by accident. Survivor's guilt. Less than. Mood spoilers. Hopeful. Less than. Original post April 19th, 2019. Hashtag my 34M wife, 28F, wants to name our baby after her dead ex-boyfriend. When my wife and I met, she had broken up with her boyfriend almost a year prior. We went on a couple of dates until I noticed she slowly stopped talking to me. I found out she had gotten back with her boyfriend. We remained friendly since we would run into each other at the gym. That's how we met. A year later, they break up. I decided to go for it again and asked her out. She was pretty upfront about him, and I learned that they have been off and on for almost 4 years. She left him because he started to get abusive. We get married a little over a year later. A few months later, she gets pregnant. Last week, I was sitting in the kitchen studying until I heard my wife yell out, crying. I ran over to her to ask her what was wrong. She had difficulty speaking, but she eventually showed me a post on Facebook that a mutual friend between her and her ex had posted. Her ex had gotten into a motorcycle accident and had died. My wife is an avid motorcyclist who stopped riding once she got pregnant. She knew how passionate he was about motorcycle riding just as much as her and how tragic it is. I console my wife and help her get to bed, letting her know that I'm here for her. I didn't think much about the whole thing until my wife told me last night that she wants to name our baby after him. I hesitated for a bit and told her that I feel uncomfortable with it. For one, it's her ex. Second, he was abusive. Why would she want to honor someone like that? My wife got pretty upset and just wouldn't hear me out on my reasons. She won't talk to me at all. Am I really in the wrong here? I'm just thinking that my wife is extremely emotional at the moment since she's pregnant and trying to process her ex's death. Any advice? TLDR. My wife's abusive ex-boyfriend died and she wants to name our baby after him. I don't. Now. She's mad at me. Relevant comments. You, Froggy McNasty. Okay, I'll be the asshole here. Is the kid yours? She's left you for him before. You got married really quickly. And she got pregnant shortly after. It doesn't exactly sound like she was over him given her response and wanting to name the kid after him. On the not asshole side, you are absolutely correct in not wanting to have your child named after her ex. That's an incredibly disturbing thing to have to explain, which shouldn't even be an issue in the first place. I really hope she's just being in a heightened emotional state because that is very disrespectful to you and the marriage. Oop. Yes. The kid is mine. When we started dating again, her ex moved back home to another state. We moved closer to our families too. Right before we got married. Update post April 22nd, 2019. Hashtag UPDATE. My 34M wife, 28F, wants to name our baby after her dead ex-boyfriend. Original post. Hi all. Wow, so this post got a lot more traction than I expected. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your advices and showing your concerns not just for myself, but for my wife. It means a lot. Now, onto the update. For Easter, we already had plans with her family to go to church and then have a barbecue at her sister's. Not wanting her family to see any tension, I saw this as a chance for her to have to speak to me. As we're getting ready for church, I tell her that we need to talk about everything now. She agreed and sat down with me. I did tell her that there is absolutely no way we're naming our baby after her ex. Or any of our kids. If we have even more. She agreed and apologized for acting irrational. Also, I know a lot of you suggested that I get a paternity test. I know that I'm 100% the father. I didn't want anyone to get my anxiety up since, while it may seem rational, jumping into an extreme conclusion and making things worse, I thought it out. But I still did ask if she was still in love with her ex and if she did cheat. She adamantly said no. She had already stopped loving him, even before they broke up. She tried to make the relationship work, but she just wasn't in love with him anymore. She described him as not being a good person at all. She apologized for making me feel that way. I told her that I understand she's going through a lot of emotions right now and being pregnant doesn't help at all, but I had to ask on why she would want to name our baby after him. Even after all she has told me, she started to get choked up and was shaking. I told her that she could tell me. She confessed that when her and her ex broke up, the last thing she told him was that she wished he would fall off his bike and die. Also, the bike that he died riding on was a bike that she strongly suggested that he buy, even though it wasn't his first choice. She also talked about how accidentally getting pregnant and her ex suddenly dying is a lot for her to handle. She wasn't expecting to be a mom so soon and her life is about to change when she really didn't want it to. She talked about how she thought we'd travel and that she'd continue racing her motorcycle. Now, she's not even sure if she'd be able to ride again. She actually thought she might be able to ride again once she had the baby. But her ex's death reminded her how much of a risk it is. She doesn't want to risk her life when she has a family. She feels gutted. Regardless, she kept stressing out to me on how she wouldn't change a thing about her life now and that she's happy to be married to me and is going to be a mom. We're the best things that has ever happened to her. Anxiety also runs in my wife's family. My wife gets intrusive thoughts about how her ex died too. It's so bad that she has a hard time sleeping sometimes. After discussing things, she decided that she'll be going into therapy. She has her first appointment this week. TLDR. Wife feels guilty about ex's death after persuading him to buy the motorcycle that he died on and telling him she wished that he'd fall off his bike and die. She keeps thinking about how he died. Wife also said that she's happy to be married and is going to be a mom. But there's a lot going on and it's a lot. She's sad that she probably can't ride motorcycles anymore. Wife will go into therapy this week. Again, I am not oop. I couldn't ride motorcycles again either once my first was born. It lost all appeal. I have kids depending on me. Aw man. Thought this was an update to the other. My wife wants to name our kid after her dead ex story that was going around last week. That one was much more dramatic. Personally, the thing I find the strangest in this story is that he got back together with her. Like, y'all went out a couple times, then she ghosts you and you later find out she's back with her ex. Fine. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Then a year later you find out they've broken up and you ask her out again. She tells you about her on-again off-again relationship with her abusive ex and you think, yup, this is the person I want to marry in 1 year's time. I guess I just don't understand OOP's thought process. God, lots of partner wants to name our child after ex-deceased partner, lately. Well, that's what happens when you jump from a long-term abusive relationship to marriage and a pregnancy in less than 2 years. Confused face. What the hell were they thinking? This sounds exactly like another post from a few days or so. My takeaway: don't ever let someone you love ride a motorcycle. Kids aren't walking tombstones. Christ alive. Okay, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I get bad vibes from this whole relationship. I'm glad she's going to therapy. or will be, but somehow I still get the feeling that she's blaming the oop for her behavior in a way. Motorcycles are a death trap. You guys know what hospitals call them? Organ donors. It sucks for the wife, but she is making a smart decision. I have high hopes for this couple. Good luck to you both in the future. You are communicating and doing all the right things. I understand how shocked and distraught she must have been, but you handled this with compassion. If you want to honor someone, send flowers to their funeral, or better still, make a charitable donation in their name. I know a lot of you suggested that I get a paternity test. I know that I'm 100% the father. I didn't want anyone to get my anxiety up, since, while it may seem rational, jumping into an extreme conclusion and making things worse, it's always impressive when men don't let the red pill hive mind prey on their insecurities. Read a similar post on Reddit where the wife already named the baby after her still alive ex, as he was a very memorable person in her life and she respects him. Op liked and agreed on the name but wasn't aware it was her ex's name. The baby was already 2 years old by then. He found this out during a family dinner. I'd seriously get rid of them so fast if my partner ever suggested naming our baby after their ex. She also talked about how accidentally getting pregnant and her ex suddenly dying is a lot for her to handle. She wasn't expecting to be a mom so soon, and her life is about to change when she really didn't want it to. Now it's my turn to be an asshole. But humans generally know what causes pregnancy nowadays. Teens get a bit of a pass sometimes. But late 20s, early 30s, you're just making terrible decisions. I don't know, I would still be a little suspicious of paternity if I was oop. Regardless of the feelings of the wife for the death of the ex, there is no rational excuses to name a baby after him. Even if they ended on a really good terms and were best friends after the breakup, there is still no way you should name a baby after an ex, if your baby is with your current partner. I am actually a bit hopeful for those two and think they can get through it. She just needs to work through the trauma from her ex in a healthy way first. Sounds like she didn't actually take the time to work it through before starting the relationship with Op, and suddenly things just went too fast and she cracked a bit. Honestly, I totally get why she's so shaken up after the ex's death with the memory of her last words to him and the bike thing. Bet she feels like his death is on her, and that feeling came crashing down on her, so she clung onto the thought of naming the baby after him as some sort of apology, or for him to continue living. She knew it was totally inappropriate after she had time to think about it. So it's not really all that fair emo to keep it against her. She ghosts you to get back with her ex. And then when that on and off relationship was in the off position, you went for it and married her in a year. Then you get her immediately pregnant. Such a bad idea. You set yourself up for a lifetime of misery attached to this woman. Getting with someone who ghosted you to get back with an abusive ex would be a no for me. Hopefully it works out for them. Dude is a moron for getting back with this woman.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.